This is Dr. Quinlan with Quinlan Chiropractic Clinic from Coppell, Texas, and you're listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show.
Live from Arlington, Texas, it's the Dunham Business Radio Show. And here's your host, Lori Dunham.
It is a wonderful day here. Thank you so much for joining us and tuning in. It's a great day. It is a really great day. So thank you for being here. Please ping your friends. Let them know that we are live and here, ready to go. And just let everybody know that our guest tonight is going to show you how to keep your memories for the long term. All right. It's kind of a little teaser there for you. But I want to also introduce you again to a fabulous young man. As you know, in June of 2020, in June of 2020, we launched International Summer and invited young folks from around the world to co-host with us. And so back again with us is Dennis, and he is in Germany. Welcome back, Dennis.
Hi.
How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So what have you been doing in Germany over there?
I'm going back to school right now since I left America, and I'm here for International Summer.
Excellent. So what do you do for work outside of school?
And next to school, I'm doing a lot of graphic design, also for Dunham Business Radio.
Yes, that's right. You are doing some graphic design work for us, and it's looks great. So are you taking on some customers there too?
Yes, I do. So just hit up Lori and she will text me everything, and then we can connect.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you again for being on the show. I bet you have a bunch of questions for our guest.
I do. I definitely do.
Great. Great. Well, hey, let's just jump right in and invite our very special guest to the show. Let me introduce him to you. Ken Wimberly is the founder and visionary behind Legacy of Love, LLC. After receiving a very special gift, Inspiration for Legacy of Love was formed, and now he spends his time helping other families create this keepsake for all of their memories. He is a serial entrepreneur with a wide variety of business experience, which generates him 16 streams of passive income and 4 streams of active income. I'm tired just reading that. A U.S. veteran who served during the Gulf War I with the U.S. Navy. He is an avid athlete who has completed 9 different Tough Mudder adventure races, and he's here to tell us even more. Please help me make welcome to the show, Ken Wimberly. Welcome.
Thank you for that awesome introduction, Lori. Appreciate you having me here.
Thank you for being here. I know you're a busy guy. I really appreciate you taking the time to come out and visit with us, and would love to hear more about your app and more importantly, who you are and your inspiration.
Sure. And thanks, Dennis, for being here. Let me say thanks for coming all the way from Germany. It's one cool thing about Zoom, right? We're able to connect across the world in an instant and be able to see each other. So
absolutely, that's exactly right. I love Zoom for that feature. So wonderful.
Neat thing. Well, sure. A little bit about me. I'll tell you. So let's see. I'll be 50 next year. I just turned 49. And
no way. I would have never guessed that. No way.
I guess technically I'm venturing out on my 50th year, right? So
that's right.
Here I am. I'm born and raised in Texas, and grew up in Mid-Cities, Arlington, Texas, and then ended up going to TCU for college. Actually, I bounced around a little bit, ended up at TCU in college, and then in the middle of my college career, Gulf War broke out, and I enlisted in the Navy, went and served in the Navy for one tour there, got out, finished TCU, spent some time in the insurance and investment world. And then that eventually brought me to an entrepreneurial bug, I guess, is what I get. Got into the restaurant business for a little while. And from there, that evolved into the real estate business. And I'm still in the real estate. That's been a 20-year career now in the real estate business. And real estate success led to real estate investing, and then also into laundromats and into an app that we've created. And I've got 3 amazing kids, married to the girl of my dreams, and grateful for the awesome life that I've got.
Wow, that's amazing. Now tell us more about the Tough Mudder.
So I need to update the bio. I've actually done 10 Tough Mudders now.
Oh!
I saw a buddy of mine a while back. This was 2012. He had, I think I saw a Facebook post like, dude, I want to do that. He was all muddy, and him and some buddies. And so he said, yeah, you got to come do one of these with me. And me and him, and I think 3 others of us went into these Tough Mudders. And at the time they were about 12 miles long. They've shortened them a little bit now. They were about 12 miles long. Special tests in obstacles to go through. Now, way back then in 2012, they had a whole lot of electricity in them. And so that was a big challenge of Tough Mudders back then. They had about 3 or 4 different stations throughout the 12 miles that you got electrocuted. So that was not really fun.
Oh wait a minute, electrocuted? Wait, that doesn't sound like fun at all.
No, I was low crawling under barbed wire in water, and they had just these strings dropping down everywhere, and the strings were hot with electricity. So,
oh my gosh!
Good times. That made for a fun time. Yeah, I'm glad it made it. They throttled that back a little bit. Electricity is only at the very end now, and it's more optional these days.
Oh my goodness!
But anyway, the Tough Mudders were a great way for camaraderie, a great way for bonding together. Kind of the Tough Mudder code or creed is it's not about finishing with a certain pace or speed or in front of other people. It's about starting and finishing as a group and as a team. And so it was a lot of fun for us to do that together. And 1 led to 2, and 2 led to so on and so on. And I think it took me about 8 years to finally get to my 10th Tough Mudder. And it was a lot of fun. I've enjoyed that process.
That's amazing. Now, we kind of touched on this in the intro a little bit, but how did you come up with the inspiration for Legacy of Love?
Yeah, I guess I'll start with just the process of what I started with. And when my daughter was first born, I went to see my attorney. And so 2 things happened that really got me started on this journey, if you will. I went to see my attorney, and he said, Ken, I know you got a daughter, you've got another one on the way. My wife was pregnant. And he said, let me share with you what we do in our family. He had 2 young boys, elementary school age boys at the time. And I guess they shot a lot of video in their family. Keep in mind, this was 2002. So way pre-iPhone days, it was old school, video camcorder days. And he shot a lot of video in his family. And he said at the end of each year, for each one of his boys, he would splice together 1 minute of video per month, put it together on a DVD. So you'd have a 12-minute video. He'd overlay it with music and create a This Is Your Life in 2000 and X gift for them. And I thought, oh my God, that's such a meaningful, wonderful gift. But I didn't own a video camera. I damn sure didn't. I still don't know how to use video editing software. So I was like, what could I do? And shortly after that, I had received a gift from my stepmother on my birthday. She gave me this beautiful leather-bound album, and it was just, I opened it up, and the first photo in this album was me and my little squinchy baby face with a hospital bracelet on. So it was like the first picture ever taken of me in the hospital, and I just continued along with this, and it was photos from my childhood with handwritten notes in the margin, telling kind of stories of who I was with and the year it was. And documented the road trips we took together as a family, and it had photos of like my family members, my cousin and my aunt who have long since passed. She had clipped out newspaper clippings from whenever I'd made the news way back when, and had photos of my time through military school and on through all the way through my college graduation and into the birth of my first child. She had all of this. It was just this wonderful, wonderful gift of love. She even had trivia from the year I was born, like 1971. She had all this trivia that I could read through and a history of the Wimberly surname. So all of this just amazing gift of love that she gave me. And 2 years later, Donna, my stepmother, got bone cancer, and it quickly spread to her lymph nodes, and before too long she was gone. And that beautiful scrapbook she gave me, still today, I mean, it's proudly displayed on my bookcase at home, and I look at it all the time. It is a living testament to her love and her kindness and her generosity. And so those two things, but the story from my attorney about what he did for his children and the gift that I received had inspired me to do something for my kids. So I thought long and hard, what could I do? And I said, you know what, I don't shoot a lot of video. I'm not a scrapbooker, right, to create the scrapbook. It's like, but I can write. I can simply write to them. And so I made a commitment to journal to my children. I said, I'm just going to write a story. You know, how often do I do it? Do I do it daily? Do I do it weekly? I thought, you know what, once a month. I can commit to once a month. That was an easy enough commitment that I could live up to and really commitment. Then I kind of thought, do I do it in a paper format or a digital format? No, there's benefit to both. But fortuitously, I said, you know, I'm going to go digital on this. So I started just in a simple Word document. And I started, just as I look back in history, I'm like, man, I'm sure glad I did this. I started every entry and I wrote the date and I wrote the age of my child and my age at the time of the entry, so that later in life they could read through these entries with a context of where we were at the different stages in their life and my life. And at first they started off as just really simple love notes, if you will. You know, I'm gushing, it's my little kids, I'm gushing over how great they are and how you rolled over and just how cute they are, and they make me laugh and make me smile. And then, you know, eventually it was love notes and then milestones, because when you've got a baby, everything's a milestone, everything's a first right there.
Every hour, every day. Yeah. Totally
it is. But eventually it got, you know, deeper. I would still tell more stories of my life and stories of what was happening in our lives. Over time, I started adding, I learned, hey, you could add and save photos into a Word doc. So I started adding a photo here and there. And then every family vacation we've taken over the years, I've fully documented in story and then with photos to back it up as well. And it's been so cool. Now when we take family vacations, I'll go each day or each evening, I'll go summarize a little bit of what happened that day to give the context. Hey, here's what we did, here's who we were with. And it's so neat to go back and read these years later, because frankly, I'd forget the people that we were with, because sometimes it's strangers you meet that you kind of become friends with briefly. And now I know their names. I can go back and see their names, their faces, because I've documented all this. And then I've since really used these journals to, I don't know, for most parents, they can probably resonate to this. You know, when you make a decision, there's oftentimes when your children don't agree with that decision. And I had at least made the commitment. I grew up in an environment that was, you know, not always the most positive environment. And I often heard words like, because I said so, or that's the way it is, or because I'm the parent. So a decision would be made and I would disagree with those decisions. I'm like, why? And I would never get a reason why. At least I remember never getting a reason why. And that always bothered me. It never sat well with me, because I felt like I was an intelligent human being. I wanted to understand the reason. I never got it. So I made a commitment with my children that I would always share with them the logic, the reasoning behind my decisions. I would tell them why. And I can assure you, when you tell a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old, I have a 4-year-old right now. So when I tell a 4-year-old my logic and reasoning, he doesn't really care, okay? But I at least take the time to do that. And many times I will go into my journaling for them to explain the reasoning behind my decisions, especially as they get older and they're bigger, more important, more impactful decisions. Because frankly, as a parent, we don't always know that we're making the right decision. We're doing the best we can with the information at hand to ideally make the best decision for our children. And so I'll use the journaling experience sometimes to go and just write to my children about, hey, I'm not sure if this is the right thing, but this is the best I can do. And here's why I'm making it. Here's what I hope the outcome is going to be. Here's why you're mad at me for that. And here's what I hope you'll understand down the road when you're a parent. So my intent behind that was always that one day they could read these when they're parents of their own and have some context to help them with maybe just a little more solid footing in their own parenting journey. So I've been doing this now for 17 years.
Wow.
Writing to my children. Over the years, I've told hundreds of other parents about this process, and many of whom have started their own process of journaling to their children. And it's so rewarding to me because a lot of times people will send me a photo of their journal that they're doing. It's like, hey, here's what I've written, here's what I'm doing. And they'll thank me for the idea. And it's so rewarding to me. And then as time went on, more and more people were like, Ken, you need to do something with that. Create something, make it easy for the rest of us so that we can do the same thing. And so that is kind of how Legacy of Love was born, was from just my own process. And then folks saying, create something. I had long kept kind of a mind map document of, wouldn't it be great to have something that did this and did this and did this and did this. And through all the encouragement to create something, I went out and did it. I took that mind map and I've started building all of these features that I thought would be great to have into an app. And we produced it. We released it last May, so May of 2019. And then we kind of rebuilt it, retweaked it towards the end of this year and into 2020. And it is a beautiful, wonderful experience. And now we've got thousands of parents that are using it and crafting their own stories and their own journey that they can one day give to their children. My intent all along was to give this to each of my children at their high school graduation. So Grace, my daughter, will graduate high school next May, and she will receive the gift of 18 years of her life through my eyes.
Wow, that's so beautiful. How is this different from maybe logging into a social media site and keeping pictures and journaling in a digital format on that platform?
Well, it's the primary difference is this is very private. Privacy is really important to us. Social media is not private. And if you think it is, you're fooling yourself right there. And if you think, oh, but I don't share it with anyone, you're fooling yourself right there, because go read your terms and conditions. They have and own all of your data and use it to sell you and use it for all kinds of things there. So our app is designed to be a private, safe, secure place where you can be fully transparent and honest and tell your true story right there. That if you choose never to share it with anyone until your death, you could, right? I understand that there are certain people that may be their outlet, right? They're not comfortable talking or sharing feelings or emotions out there, and writing may be their outlet. And so we have a vehicle that this could be, that they do it until their death, and then it's given to their children or family members at that. But I think for many people, as I talk to so many parents that are using this and doing things like this, they want to do it. And one day that's going to be a really special gift to give to their family members.
Yeah, I've heard of people, they go buy a children's storybook, a particular storybook, and each year they have their teacher sign it and write something special about who they were in that grade. And it just so happens that particular book has 18 different chapters or whatever. And so people will contribute throughout the years. Is your app open to other people if the parents choose to, such as a teacher every year, to write something like that?
So here's one of the things that we built in. Remember I said I had this little mind map, and wouldn't it be cool if, well, our developers had seen this part of the mind map, and we did in fact build it in. So we built in kind of a way to prompt or interview. So just what you're kind of talking about. I do this with my kids. We do year-end interviews each year. I will ask, and I have for maybe 8 or 9 years now, maybe 10 years, I've asked the same questions to my kids at the end of each year. And I've recorded them on video. So of course it started way, way, way before I had an app. It was just recording it on video. But now what we built into the app is you can build your series of questions, kind of like you're talking about. So you have your teacher's interview or whatever, build your series of questions, save them kind of as a template into the app. And as you are recording, pick up your phone, as you're recording, it's feeding you the questions that you kind of read or question off. And then you record the child or the teacher or whomever, and you could ask those things and get the feedback. So yeah, we've got a pretty neat feature baked into the technology for that.
That's really cool. So they don't have to be part of your family platform, kicked in, brought in and kicked
Certainly
out.
not if you're going to record them. Certainly not if you're going to record. If people are in your family, or if you have an extended network, for instance, spouses together, husband, wife, it could be favorite aunt or uncle or grandparents or godparents or whatever. We have our app is a freemium model. So we have a free version and a premium and a family version. Our family version includes all of our features and allows up to 6 different people all to be in one account journaling to the same set of people right there.
Wow, 6 different people. That's really cool. That's really cool. I remember growing up, my mother had this little binder, if you will. It wasn't a binder, but it was a plastic tooth comb bound book that had little pockets in it. It was made with thick paper. And every year from kindergarten through high school, you would fill out the same profile. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they would list things like how much is a loaf of bread and who is the president, and then their little pocket, you could put artwork that would fit. You could put the report card or something special, the meaningful memento. And she gathered that every year. And what's interesting is at one point I went back and was reading it, and from the time I was 5 years old until about the time I was 17, every year was, I want to be a country singer. I want to be a singer. I want to be a singer.
So what'd you do with that?
And now I am on the radio.
So do you do any karaoke then?
I love karaoke. I do. I do.
So what you're talking about, that's golden. And was it your mom or your grandma who did that?
My mom did that. And so my question to you is, if she's got something like that, and there's people probably, all over the world that have that, because that was a big thing back when I was born, and
Yeah.
So, if they have something like that, and they have, report cards or certificates of achievement, things like that, can that kind of stuff be uploaded from a physical form into the app, or do you have to take a picture of it?
So via photos, of course it can. Yeah. So via photos, of course. Now, first of all, I'm going to say, if you have the physical form of something like that, it's golden. And being able, just like when I have this scrapbook, it's amazing, and it's something to be treasured. So part of what we're doing with our app as well is an output, partnering with a book type company, so that you can go from the digital version to a physical product of having it. So I think is something special about the physical product, and there's something special about the digital, because you can have audio, you can have video, you can have different media that you can't necessarily have in the physical form. But especially what you're talking about, the year over year over year, what does a carton of milk cost, right? What's your favorite song this year? Who's your favorite artist this year? And I love, what do you want to be? And you wanted to be a country music singer all those years. So I think, so we did build a little bit of that into our platform, and I've done it for you. We missed this past year. I was just talking to my daughter. I was like, we missed this year. We're going to do it like the 1st of December in 2020, because we missed 2019's interview. got busy and it got away from us. So, but to be able to do that and look back over those, my daughter she's like, oh, I came across one of my interviews. My voice was so squeaky and I was so little. And it's just such a neat thing to be able to do.
Now, what's interesting, how old is your youngest?
So he's 4. I have a 17-year-old daughter, a 16-year-old son, and a 4-year-old full of energy little guy.
So how much of the pandemic are you capturing for these youngsters?
Well, we're living it. We all have gone through COVID already. And so we're literally living that. Interesting. All the young kids were basically asymptomatic. They had, it's not fact, but I've written 3 different lengthy articles or journal entries about it. One was when it was first happening. And frankly, I was addicted to the news. And I quit watching the news about 5 years ago because I just realized it was bad for my blood pressure. It was bad for my attitude. It was bad for everything. So I just made a commitment, said, I will not turn on the news anymore. And I was like, if something's really important, someone will tell me about it. And lo and behold, that's been true. And my blood pressure has gone down. My happiness has gone up. My gratitude has gone up, all these things. And so, but when this happened in March, I allowed myself to get sucked back into the news, and it made me a person who was living in fear. I became a person who was living in fear and in fearful and anxious. Anxiety was creeping in. And honestly, it was my kids that said, who are you? What's going on? Because that's not me. And I realized this is it. I'm allowing all this negativity into. So I wrote a journal article exactly about that. I'm like, man, here's what's happening in the media. Here's what's being reported. Here's what I'm seeing and kind of what my gut feel is about things. And so I wrote about that. And then when my wife and I got corona, I wrote about that, and I tracked our symptoms in there. Not so much for my kids, but really for my great grandkids. So that what if they're reading this and they can see all of this down the road, and they can say, okay, well, this was my daily symptoms, our symptoms, what we had and what we went through and how we felt, and our anxiety levels and those things. And so then I still have to write one because my kids came back from camp, and lo and behold, 80% of the people at camp got corona. And of course, most of them were asymptomatic, but I'm going to write an entry about that and include the news article where their camp just got, berated for that. So I just want to include all that so that, again, this is hopefully a 100-year event, right? Where things don't happen very often. And so 2 or 3 generations down can read this and see what was going on and what it was like. I've lately found myself, I dug through some articles about the 1918 pandemic and all the masks that they were wearing and the debates of mask versus no mask and rights that you have as a citizen versus rights of the government.
What?
Very similar to what we're going through today.
It seems like history is repeating itself.
It tends to do that.
So what's really cool, I think, is that we're going to end up in your journal.
Absolutely.
And when this video is actually produced outside of the show, it's going to end up on YouTube for eternity. So we'll give you the link, and you can actually link it to your generations from now. They'll be able to click that link and see there's great grandpa.
It'll be there, and we'll also put it on our Legacy of Love YouTube page there, and it'll live in all these places. So
awesome. That is so cool. Yeah. Dennis, I know that you are burning with a question. I can see your hand.
Okay, so my question actually is, there are, outside of Legacy of Love, many other opportunities to put pictures on, like iCloud, Google Drive. Why should people pay for the service to save pictures somewhere instead of getting it for free?
Well, so I have Google. I have Google Photos. I have iCloud. I have both of them. Mm-hmm. I have, if I go just open up Photos on my phone, I think it will tell you I have 14,400 photos on my phone. And so what I'm going to tell you is that they become noise. there's even on my favorites, I have, almost 600 or 500 favorites in my photos. And so when you have so many photos, so many things, it becomes noise, if you will. That's the best way I can describe it. It just, when there's 14,000, like sometimes I think, oh, I want to go find this particular picture. It's almost impossible to go do it without scrolling for 10 minutes and do it. So in putting them into the context of a story and into a journal entry. So I'm only putting a handful, like our account allows you, our premium account allows you to put up to 30 photos. You can do the free account, put 1 photo per entry and have it free forever. But in our premium account, we put up to 30 photos per entry. And I'll just get back to like the vacation. When I document vacations right there, I can quickly go and search for my journal entry about a particular vacation. I can search by tag or keyword or however I want to look right there. And it will pull up that entry. Not only is it the photos, but it's the stories and everything that went along with it. It's the people that me telling, oh, and this was so-and-so. Like I can't even remember, we went on a vacation to the Sea of Cortez a few years ago. And I know we went with one family that I know very well, but there was a mother and her son that went with us. I can't remember the name right now, but I could go find it in a matter of seconds and know, oh yeah, that's who it was right there. That's one reason, is that I have all the photos saved in just the 2 places you talk about, in iCloud and in Google Photos, so that they're there. I love Google Photos because of facial recognition. I can go search by person and do some cool things there. So there's, not saying not to keep them there. I keep mine there as well, but in putting them into this format, it's a very different environment. It tells a story. It captures the age of my children at the point of this story. And then it'll also kind of cool, put it on a digital timeline that I can see a history of my kid's life.
Interesting.
That's really cool. Now this app, can you run it both on your phone and your laptop?
Yeah, it's cross-platform, so it can be done phone, tablet, and laptop or desktop or whatever you prefer right there.
Can you can you point a domain to it and kind of make it like a quasi website?
It is a website right now. So if you're saying, can you make it like a quasi website, something we're looking at as a potential output, it's not there today, is the ability for us to send a file to someone where they can, in essence, do what you're doing. So once someone says like, hey, my kids are grown, I'm not drawing anymore, I just want to export all this data and put it somewhere, where you could then put it onto basically a private web page or a hosted blog page that's all yours, and you would have, and you could share it with that. You wouldn't be able to make any other entries to it, but it would be all the data is there displayed, and you could access it that way.
Well, that's pretty cool. So that keeps it for as long as the cloud exists, I guess.
As long as the cloud exists and you're paying for your hosted domain or whatever, you bet.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, we're gonna talk about Ken's entrepreneurial journey, which is what the show's all about. We're going to talk about some of the mistakes, maybe the lessons he's learned, and how to inspire you on your journey, give you some advice. I mean, he is an amazing businessman with so much wide variety of experience. Who better to ask than Ken Wimberly? So when we come back, we will be talking into that, or diving into that. And so ping your friends. There's plenty of time. Please let them know that Ken is here. And in the meantime, put your comments in the box. He's going to be monitoring that box, and would love to answer your questions. So we'll be back right after this.
This is Jessica Anderson with Faith Forward Nurse Aid Training Academy, and you are listening to Dunham Business Radio.
Hi there, this is Lori Dunham with Dunham Business Radio. We won the 2019 Gray Bowl Show of the Year. We also got an award for community service, and I can't thank you enough for all of your support. We are on the next level, and we're going higher, and I can't do it without you, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, and stay tuned in.
El censo cuenta a todos los que vivimos en este país, incluyendo aquellos que no pensarías que también cuentan. Una persona en el hospital, sí, cuenta. Miguelito que acaba de nacer, sí, Miguelito ya cuenta. Los García y los Álvarez que comparten la misma casa, sí, todos cuentan. El primo Luis que acaba de llegar al país y está viviendo en el garaje de Pedro, también cuenta. El censo cuenta a todos para que a todos nos vaya mejor.
The census counts everyone in this country, and that really means everyone. A hospital patient, yes, that person counts. Newborn Benjamin, yeah, little Ben now counts. Two families that live in the same house, sure thing, they all count. Or David, who's living in his cousin Daniel's garage, he also counts. The census counts everyone to make things better for all of us.
Everybody, we are back. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying in here with us at the Dunham Business Radio Show. We are coming to you from Arlington, Texas, and we have a really awesome guest with us tonight. We are learning all about Legacy of Love with Ken Wimberly, and he is the inspiration, the founder behind it, and he really just allows you to have a one digital platform to save all of your family memories, and also to give you a chance to journal to the person that you're going to give it to. So whether it's your kids, grandkids, whatever, gives you an opportunity to do that. And we're also here with Dennis from Germany. So he's here and pitching in, asking questions. But before we jump back into the show, so I'm really super excited to tell you that we have relaunched the format of my hard copy book into a PDF download for you. So start your own Amazon store without getting hurt. It's now a PDF download, and you can go to www.startamazonstore.com, and every book that's sold, every book that's downloaded, a nonprofit of your choice will receive 20%. So if you have a nonprofit that needs to raise some funds during this time, just promote that link and everybody can download. Super simple, and we'll send 20% for every book sold. So thank you for your support, and let's jump back in. Ken, welcome back to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thanks for having me. So happy to be here again.
I love talking about the entrepreneurial journey, and our show, our focus of our show is to help our audience. It's 98% entrepreneurial. So there might be people out there who are on an entrepreneurial journey. And so what type of advice can you give them as far as starting a journey?
Oh my goodness. A few things. So I'm gonna share with you 6 things that I shared with a mastermind group that I was leading recently, and I think these will be of value to your audience, and it's very much related to this. And some of these may seem honestly a little like outside of I'm trying to be an entrepreneur, why are you telling me this? But I'm going to tell you this because it's meant the world to me and many other entrepreneurs that I know and that I spend my time with. First thing is have a morning routine. Okay. This is in your life. It is imperative that you start the day off right and do it each day over and over again. So whatever that routine is for you, have a morning routine. If you haven't read Hal Elrod's book, The Miracle Morning, I encourage people to read that book. It's one great framework for having a great morning routine, and it's how I've framed my own personal morning routine after that book. But whatever it is for you, have a morning routine, follow it. Make sure that you're getting up early enough to where you can give yourself some time in the morning, because heaven knows that when the rest of your family wakes up, or the kids wake up, or the work starts happening, all that time goes out the door and it's all about someone else. So spend enough time on yourself each morning. Exercise every day. And some people look at me and say, well, why every day? I hear you need to take days off. And I disagree with that philosophy. I say, get out there, go walk around the neighborhood, even if it's just that as exercise, right? Invest in yourself, exercise every single day, because I am witness to the power of what the energy, the clarity that exercise brings. I get some of my greatest ideas and things that I need to take action on when I'm out on a walk with my dog or out on a run with my dog. It'll come to me like, that's it. So exercise every day. I mentioned this earlier on what I've done. Turn off the news. Okay. So please turn off the news, silence the noise, so that you can focus on yourself and that thing that you want to do, whatever it is that you're passionate about. So really important for any entrepreneur is to be a source of value for others. So come to bring value to others. And it is amazing what will come back to you. I think it was Zig Ziglar that used to always say, help enough other people to get what they want, and you can't help but get what you want. That is such a true statement. So I want to encourage everyone, if you're starting, just figure out what you can do in your entrepreneurial journey, in your business, in your passion, whatever it is that you want to do. How can I use this to be of value to others? So Legacy of Love is a great example of how can that to me was one of the greatest things I could do to help a whole lot of other people. It's why we made it a freemium product, so that I could be of value to as many people, even if someone could totally not afford a thing, it could be a source of value to others. So there's one right there. The other is create and strengthen your communities. You're doing it right now with your radio program. You're building this community. You're doing it with your give back that you're doing with your book right here. That's a way that you are creating and strengthening communities. And that, I think, is a really important thing for us to do, especially in this kind of weird time of the world we've been in. It's important to create our tribe, to pour into our tribe. And part of that is sharing some best practices, maybe making time for people that you didn't have the time for. Right now, we all maybe have a little more time than we had in the past. So that's one right there. And then the final thing I would say is invest in yourself, learn something new, okay? And I'm pouring in right now into myself, and I am learning new things. I am overwhelmed with the amount of things that I have to learn right now, yet it's how we advance. We've got to learn something to continue to advance ourselves. And along those same lines of learning something new is challenge yourself. Do something, get yourself out of the comfort zone, because honestly, that's where we grow. This is, comfort zone. This is where we grow up here. And there's reality to that. So I think you kind of put those 6 things together, and not to be esoteric about them, but they're really action steps right there. You put these 6 kind of action steps together, and you will start to make really strong advances in your entrepreneurial endeavor.
That is such great advice. I mean, I was sitting here thinking, okay, I do that. I do that. I do that. I don't do that. I do that. I could be better at that. All right. How many of you out there have been doing that? What are some of the things that you do on your entrepreneurial journey? Drop them in the comments there and let everybody else know. Let's build a community, right? He just said it. So let's do it. Let's lead by example. Put your comments in there. Ken, let me ask you this. Along your journey, I'm sure there's mistakes, right? I mean, we're sitting at the feet of at the foot of a genius here. So we want to utilize this time as much as we can. So talk about some of the mistakes you've made, maybe more so the lessons you learned from some of the mistakes you made.
Yeah. I mentioned when I started my entrepreneurial journey, it was in the restaurant business. I opened up a pizza restaurant. This was back in 2000. I opened up the pizza restaurant, and I worked as a delivery driver at a pizza restaurant when I was in college, and the food was just amazing. It was so popular. Everyone at that school for generations had frequented this particular restaurant, and I franchised. I mean, they didn't have a formal franchise program, so I licensed their concept and opened one up in another town over. I actually opened up one up in Arlington over by UTA. And I took it, the concept was in Fort Worth by TCU. I opened up in Arlington over by UTA. And it's fascinating as I look back on that whole process. I did it with a partner of mine, my good buddy from the Navy. We opened it up together. And I look back and I had so much hubris, I guess is the word to use. Overconfidence in myself and my abilities. And, I've got it figured out. And I was, in my late 20s at the time, I think we kind of went and did that. And I'm like, no, I got it. And made an amazing number of mistakes. Oddly enough, our biggest mistake was a real estate mistake. It's odd since I spent the next 20 years of my career in the real estate business. But at the time, I didn't know anything about real estate and certainly about commercial real estate. So we ended up taking a space that was 2.5, 3 times bigger than what we really needed. But we liked the location. We loved the location, and we just, mistake after mistake after mistake. That big space cost us more in equipment, more in furnishings, more in labor, more in utilities, more in everything. And all of that more on any given month was just a little more, but on month over month over month, it added up a lot. And even though our growth curve was really hitting its stride by the time we shut down, our expense curve had just dominated it. And we ended up, it caused us to file bankruptcy. Ended up, filing personal and professional bankruptcy. It was a real low point in my life. And so, I look back on what had I learned from that. And the biggest thing was there is such power in people who have gone before you, in mentors, in coaches, in folks that can help you along that journey. And I wasn't seeking out any of those people. I was like, I got to figure it out. I've read some books. I'm going to be good. So seek out mentors, seek out business models, seek out coaches, and have people to dive in and help you and hold you accountable to things. It's one of the biggest benefits in my life. And so today I have many coaches and mentors and counselors and friends in my life to help me with my different business endeavors.
I think it's, is it John Donne who said, we're not on an island to ourselves. I mean, we really do need community, right? We need each other, whether as your customer or your mentor, your whatever, partner, whatever. We can't do it alone. And
100%.
For sure. So Dennis, your hand is up. What do you got?
Is your family involved in like any operations of a company of Legacy of Love?
So yes, so my wife and I have been working together for the past 8 years in the real estate business. She came to work with me in the commercial real estate business, and then after our little guy was born 4.5 years ago, she decided that she wanted to go and build a residential business. So she's been doing that in real estate. She does some help, really mostly in the awareness side for the app for us. So she kind of helps plug us into communities and get us just introduced to other groups and moms groups and things like that. My son, who's 16, works with me every day. He's been working with me over the summer, and he helps on our analytics. He reviews different analytics for the app right there. He's about to help build a website for us for another company we've got. He's going to help us build that. My daughter has done some work for us on and off. It's been more general admin type work, but Knox, my son, he's a kind of a tech guy. So he's been really cool to have him dive in and work with us in the company. Really, frankly, it's been super rewarding.
And I'll just put it out there. If you need a graphic artist, Dennis can help you.
Love it.
So did you code like everything by yourself?
Great question. No, I've never written a line of code. My son has taken multiple coding classes, but he's not as advanced. So but it's really interesting, Dennis. So no, I did not code by myself. And that was it's been a crazy part of the journey to found a technical product as a non-technical founder. to bring something to life as a non-tech. So I hired the original tech team that I hired was frankly someone that I knew through the real estate business that had their own app, and had hired them. And they were great people, did a great job, the best of their abilities, but honestly, they were way out of their league when it came to the type of product we were building. And I didn't know better. I'd never worked with developers or coders before. I had tried to do, I thought, like a whole bunch of research and interviewing prior to that, but I just didn't have the right introductions back then. I didn't have the right network. Now, since then, I've got now continuously growing my network of people, and ended up hiring a group that one of the guys is a former Groupon guy and had done kind of work with their team, and they've got a really skilled designer on staff that's just super creative, and has helped us kind of come up with some beautiful screens. And so it's been a really good fit. And now I continue to meet other really marketing people and analytics folks to dive in. As I told you, I'm diving in and learning lots of things right now. It's not coding that I'm learning, but I am learning from social media marketing and analytics and how all this stuff pulls together to make really informed, data-driven decisions right now.
I totally get that. I understand that. I mean, when I first started the show, it was just more of, well, let's just have some fun and talk about it and learn from the journeys. And that's still a huge 90% of what we do. But 10% on the back end is how many people are visiting, how many people are commenting, how many people are sharing, how many people are engaged, what topics are getting the most reception. Because, I have to say, actually, in all the shows I've had, I think there was maybe one in the last year and a half where people were like, I'm out early. I'm out. I don't want to talk about it, And I'm like, that's a really surprise, that people are so engaged. So I guess we're doing something right.
And the data will tell you. Right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. They will tell us.
Thing.
Yeah. So in the launching of the app, what are some lessons you learned about that? I mean, I know you're talking about, learning something new in the team and everything, but what is a business concept that you learned when launching the app?
Well, I mean, to be super transparent, I really expected that because I had so much feedback prior to launch, just from concept and encouragement and talking to people and sharing the idea with people. And the feedback was just ridiculously positive about this concept and what we were doing. And I expected that when we launched, and basically, when I say launch, that launch included making announcements on social media and email blasts and stuff like that. Was our official launch right there. We didn't go out for a big press campaign or anything. But I just felt like it would catch on like wildfire very quickly, and we'd have tens of thousands of subscribers in a matter of days or weeks. That has not been the case. So what I've learned through this is, it is a business and skill set to get the word out about a product. And that's one of those skill sets that I continue to learn right now, and how to do that and how to get it out there. And so that's been a big aha to me. I was under this, false impression that if you build it, they will come automatically. And that is not necessarily the case. I think I read a stat, there's 1,500 apps a day that are being added to the App Store. So you can get lost in the noise right there. And it really takes a grassroots effort, and eventually, hopefully, a big virality factor will come out of it when enough people start noticing and talking and sharing about it. Eventually I'll share on your program, as I share to everyone, my big goal and desire is that when I give this, I mentioned in May, I'm going to be giving this to May or June, whenever she graduates, to my daughter, 18 years of your life through my eyes. And what would be the most amazing thing is if I could do that sitting next to Ellen on couch in her studio, is to be able to share it share that experience, share that journey with Ellen and her audience, and to give that to my daughter within that kind of environment. So I'll put it out there to the world, because that's what I would love to manifest and make happen.
That would be just a dream come true. And I hope that happens for you. Let me ask you this. And some entrepreneurs might have this question, but when you were in concept mode and you were sharing it with people, did you share it mostly with people you knew, liked, and trusted, or did you maybe once in a while engage in a stranger? And if so, through anybody that you shared, was there ever a concern that someone might steal your idea and go and create an app on their own?
So yeah, great question. And there was, like, early on, I had people sign non-disclosures just to talk to them about it. And eventually I gave up on that, and I was like, look, I'm going to have to talk to enough people about this idea and concept. And what I knew is that, okay, someone could go out and create something to compete with me, or can take this idea or concept. It's like, but no one, or at least no one I've met yet, can take the fact that I've done this for 17 years and that I've I've done the hard work. I've logged the 10,000 hours into actually doing this and doing the work right there. Now, building the tech and doing that, sure, someone could come build it, but I at least have the reality of the story behind it. I do have that, not just the story in my own data. So I've poured that data into this app, and I've got the example in the shiny. Here's 17 years of stories.
So it all comes down to custom. It's a custom fit.
It is for us. I feel like this is, there's other products out there. There's certainly other journaling apps. I use other journaling apps for my personal journaling. This is a person-to-person product. So this is not necessarily designed. In fact, it's not designed. You can use it if you wanted to for your own journaling, but really this is designed to be something for your children or your grandchildren or your loved ones that you can write to them and one day give it to them and share all these stories with them. So we're a pretty niche product overall. There's plenty of journaling apps out there for that. There's plenty of note-taking apps out there for taking notes. And there's, as I mentioned, I started it in a simple Word document years ago.
So outside of the journal, outside of Legacy of Love, what other ways are you using your business to impact the world?
Wow, thanks. I'll share two things with you. One, within Legacy of Love and with the journal. By December, it's going to take us a little bit. My goal is by December, we should have it built into the code as far as being able to execute on this vision. We are going to set up the app so that every single purchase, we haven't determined the exact percentage yet of the purchase, but it will be fairly sizable. Every single purchase, we will, much like you're doing with your book proceeds, we will have a percentage of purchases that goes to one of our preferred charities. We have 4 already that are just really meaningful charities to us as a team and as a family. So those will be our launching 4 charities. And then of course, others will be added over time. And so anytime someone makes a paid purchase or a premier family purchase, they will be prompted to choose one of the charities that they would like a portion of the proceeds to go to, and it'll be a way for us to fund. And then we're going to put that on our website so that it shows. It'll be kind of cool because at first it'll be, hey, you've donated $4 to this organization. Right. But eventually it'll be 400, 40,000, 400,000. And that will be one of my favorite parts of the journey, is watching how much we're able to give back. So that's from the legacy side. From the other business that we're really using to give back to the world is our laundromat company. We have a laundromat chain called Laundry Love, LUV. I'm actually wearing a Laundry Love.
Sure enough, there it is.
And our concept with the laundromat is we're a mission-driven laundromat. We see our laundromats as miniature community centers. So within every one of our locations, I say everyone, we have 1 right now. We're planning our next 3 currently. And so we're working on design and execution of our next 3. And every one of our laundromats has a children's play area in the laundromat. We ultimately want to be like the Chick-fil-A of laundromats. So your kids drive by like, I want to go to Laundry Love. and then in addition to the children's play area, we have a dedicated children's reading area because literacy is so important. And I've actually heard a stat from the Laundry Literacy Foundation that in our demographic, the demographic that is our laundromat customer is generally a working class, lower income demographic. And in that kind of many of those households, they say that there may be one household in 300 that has books for their children. Okay.
Wait,
sit on that.
What?
1 in 300 that has books for their children. Like my 4-year-old has 300 books of his own in our house. Okay, we have, and that blew me away when I heard that. So in our laundromats, we bring in every month books into our laundromat, and we fully encourage the children, take them home, take a book home, take a book home. And then we bring in, we partnered with local colleges to come in and read every Saturday to the children. And so it's really, really cool. We brought in young authors to come read to the kids, and we have college students come in each Saturday and read to the children. And so it's a big way for us to give back in terms of education to the community, helping children with literacy, giving books to children, and then using our laundromat space as a safe place for families to come and to enjoy the experience. We have 6 TVs up in our 6 to 8 in our laundromats, and the TVs are not allowed to show news. They're not allowed to show daytime TV or Sally Jesse Review or any negativity. So we have positive programming only on the TVs. We've got Disney Channel for the kids. We've got History Channel. We've got different things that's only positive stuff on our TV. So just little ways that we can add value into the world in our communities.
So where are your laundromats located?
In West Texas. So Abilene and San Angelo is where we're starting. We have a lot of interest from people already about franchising. So after we get these first 4 open, dialed in, ready to go, so probably about another year from now, we will be ready to issue some regional franchises. Awesome.
That's so great. If you come to DFW, I would like to read to the kids.
Would love that. Yes. We will eventually make, since I live in DFW, and one of my partners lives in Austin, and another is in Denver. So we will certainly make it into all 3 of those locations.
So that's fantastic. So how can people learn more about where to find you, Legacy Love? How do they download it? How do they get involved?
Yeah, please. So our website is legacyoflove.app. So it's APP. We are an app. So legacyoflove.app. Go check us out there. You can learn all about the product and a little bit about the story behind it. You can set up an account straight from there. So please go there and check that out. And then to learn about our laundromat, you can go to Laundry Love, LaundryLuv.com, and kind of learn more about our laundromat, our chain that we're doing right there. And then you connect with me on social media. Love to connect on, I use both Facebook and Instagram kind of primarily on social media. On Facebook, I am at Lord Wimberly on Facebook, or KFW, I think is what I am on. I've got a public profile page. Look for Ken Wimberly public profile page. And then Instagram is ken.wimberly on Instagram. And of course, Legacy of Love has an Instagram page and a Facebook page as well. So would love for you to connect with us on all of our social media. On my Legacy Instagram and on my personal public profile page, I'll put out probably 2 or 3 times a week, just a little videos that I'll put out about anything from parenting to personal development to perspective that I've seen about life right there. There'll be generally 2 to 5 minute videos where I'm just trying to share what's been moving the needle for me in my life right there that might help some others.
Is the laundromat a 501c3?
It's not. We're a for-profit laundromat. So it's our mission. We want to do good by doing good is kind of what we look at this. So we're not we're a for-profit venture, and the more we're able to help people, the more we're able to help ourselves.
Who are some of the nonprofit organizations that that your family finds?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that. So the 4 that we're going to roll out with for Legacy of Love is there's one called the Front Row Foundation, founded by a guy named John Broman down in Austin. Front Row Foundation works primarily with kind of terminally ill or close to terminally ill patients to put them in their front row moment, whatever that might be. It might be the front row of their favorite concert, or a F1 sport, or it might be a boxing match, or a what do you call it, ultimate fighting match, or it could be they've done Disney, where they put people like front of the line pass at Disney and meeting Snow White and all this kind of stuff. And it's just a wonderful organization that gives back to sick patients and gives a really magical experience for a lot of people. So that's one. Number 2 is the David Nicholas Organ Donor Awareness Foundation. One of my dear friends is one of the longest heart surviving patients in the world. I think it's like 26 years that he had a heart transplant 26 years ago, and they gave him 6 months to live. And here he is today. And so he created a foundation in the name of the donor that donated his heart, and built an apartment complex, endowed the foundation with the apartment complex. And I just love their mission. He goes and flies people in to DFW, and he sets them up in an apartment while they're here, sets their family up in an apartment, even provides, housing, food, everything for them, so that they can be comfortable while they're on the list waiting for a transplant. So that's a magical one right there. And then there's another one called One Life Fully Lived, also started by a guy that is just a wonderful soul. And One Life Fully Lived is helps to teach. It started with inner city youth, kind of was their target market, and he's broadened that to just people that are down on their luck, right? That haven't had the right mentors or skills or training. And he teaches people really 3 things. It's how to he says dream it, plan it, live it is kind of his motto right there. It's about, you start with a dream, then you plan that dream, and then you live the life of your dreams right there. And he's got a whole curriculum that he takes people through. And so we've supported many people through that program right there. And then the last is Operation Enduring Rescue, Operation Underground Railroad is what it is. And it is a foundation that is battling modern day slavery and the sex slave of children and women and children and boys and men as well in the sex trade business. And I just became aware of them recently, and I so support the mission that they're doing. And man, what a tough thing that they're doing, but they're doing great work going in and rescuing people from these horrid conditions. So those are our 4 that we're super passionate about, and that we're launching with this mission with Legacy of Love.
Wow, those are fantastic organizations. I haven't heard of them, and definitely want to help with them with their missions. I mean, they're so important, every single one of them. Dennis, do you have anything you'd like to ask Ken before we sign off?
I don't think so. I think I've heard everything I want about the app.
So you're going to go download it and create your own, start keeping records of your life?
I will, maybe now or whenever I have kids.
Start now. You've got I guarantee you have stories right now that are happening that you'll be able to share with your, it's cool. I wish I would have, I journaled a long time ago a little bit, but I did it in paper journals, of course. And I think, man, I wish I would have done something digitally that saved some of these crazy stories I had back then and shared with my kids in the future.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect time to start right now, Dennis. You're about to embark on your adulthood, right? So you're about to go through 10 or 15 years of a roller coaster excitement of life. That's when it happens. And if you can commit to writing now, when all that craziness happens, you'll be able to keep writing all the way through it. Wouldn't you agree, Ken? So
Dennis, I'll give you the idea. I'll share with this for your listeners too, Lori, because this is such a beautiful idea that a friend of mine did. This friend of mine is named Sam. And when I was sharing with him this idea for, this was pre-development, idea for Legacy Love, he said, let me share with you what I've been doing, journaling related. When Sam was 15, his dad sat him down and had a conversation with him about the importance of the woman he would one day marry, in that role that she would have in his life, and what that he needed to really search and find that right woman that he could have a life with and build a wonderful, beautiful life with. Sam, at 15 years old, started writing letters to his future wife.
Wow.
Okay. And he collected those letters over the years. I think he was 24, 25 when he got married. I went to his wedding and I got to see him gift those letters to his bride. It was the most beautiful, wonderful thing. So there's a little tip for you there, Dennis.
Wow.
That's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
That's a really great way to get started, right, Dennis?
It is. Definitely.
Yeah. And then, of course, you're about to embark on your career and your job hunt and your graphic arts business and becoming a pilot. And I mean, all of that stuff could be a gift to your entire family line. So I know, looking back in my family, I wish I knew more about what my grandpa was thinking the day he met my grandmother. You know, how cool that would be. So, but anyway, yeah, this has been absolutely amazing. And I guess one final technical question just popped in my head. You know, audios and videos, they take up a lot of space. Is there a space limitation? How many gigabytes, terabytes of space are available on the app?
There's not today. We haven't encountered it could be something we encounter down the road and we have to really look at that. But we believe that we've priced it at a level that will allow us, with the free version, it's just one photo per entry. And so it kind of limits that space requirement. With the paid versions, we believe we've got it priced right where we can compensate for the bandwidth requirements right there.
So you get a great big data center and redundancy. So
it's all on Amazon Web Servers.
And the servers never go down. And okay, yeah, put all the blame on Amazon and their backbone. Well, awesome, man! What a great opportunity to learn more about Legacy of Love and even laundry love. I guess love is in your purview for business.
It's in my DNA.
It's your thing. Well, I've really enjoyed the time together. Thank you so much, and Dennis, thank you again for being here. It's been cool. I really appreciate it. So let me just say, if you want to get in touch with Ken and take a look at his app, download it, and buy the actual premium version so it goes for generations to come, just go to legacyoflove.app and let's get started now. Just start journaling now. That's the key. And you want to jump in and start building a legacy that you can be proud of. So continue putting your comments in the box. It's the end of the show, but Ken is going to be monitoring that box over the next couple of days. He would love to engage with you. If you have questions, you just drop them in there and he will answer. So that's going to do it for today. So until next week, stay on top of the world, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show. Be sure to follow us at Dunham Business Radio and check out DunhamBusinessRadio.com for more info.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter.